and use that as a reason to go to war
Mm-hmm.
in Iraq. So they think that, like, there's people out there that think that we bombed our own buildings and use it as a reason to blame Iraq just so we could go to war with them.
Yeah, because doesn't that boost the economy too? Like when we go to war or something like that.
I have no idea, man. I'm too dumb for that stuff. But
That maybe not, maybe that's not completely true, but yes, that's right, and that's what basically Operation Northwoods is, except it was more specific towards the Cuban terror on campaign or whatever, and so they. Yeah, so basically they wanted to blame the Cubans for something that they actually did, but they'll like I think they were gonna like I think the actual operation was meant to like blow up aircraft and stuff, but not have anybody actually die. And so so they went to Kennedy. So Kennedy is the one who was the president at the time, who had to accept this operation, but he didn't accept it. And I think this has actually been proven to be true, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not completely convinced that it is. But either way, I think it's a very good possibility that like Operation Northwoods is false flags are an actual thing, because I think in some ways, I think by going to war with someone, it does boost the economy in the way, and it supports basically our military and fund them a little bit more than we should. But yeah, I think that's definitely a good possibility. It might be true.
mm-hmm. Could be.
But yeah, so Operation Northwoods is kind of one I heard for a while. There was another conspiracy I heard about there being like bunkers in the redwood forest. I don't know what that conspiracy would be called, but that one was kind of interesting because like have you ever like seen those like Reddit stories where people like post their stories on Reddit? I think it was someone on Reddit posted his story about coming across like a bunker, or like he didn't find the bunker, like the I don't know, it's so weird. It's interesting. It could be like a drug ring or
Look that
something.
up.
Wait, what was that, Tristan?
So you should look.
I should. I'm
That'd be
just
interesting. I'm curious to see where they have bunkers at. All right. Well, okay. So, what do you think about Area 51? Like, what do you think they have there?
so
Why is it so secretive?
it's kind of funny how like everybody knows what Area 51 is, and obviously Area 51 is an actual place, but of course publicly no one, or officially I should say, nobody actually knows what's in Area 51. And so obviously it's turning this thing like, oh, that's where they hide like government secrets and stuff like that, which is a good possibility. But it is interesting though. I think it's possible that is where they do testing for nuclear weapons, not necessarily nuclear weapons, but just weapons in general. Because Area 51, I think it's located in Nevada, right? And I think it's pretty barren where it's located, so it just makes sense to like have it located somewhere where there's like no population around you. So I think it's definitely a place where they test new type of weaponry. But when in terms of aliens, maybe, I don't know, personally, I don't I mean, let's say if they actually did have aliens, but like we actually look at it as like the Independence Day movie type aliens, or like Covenant from Halo or something like that. Like if it were those kind of aliens, I don't think they would have them in the same facility where they're testing new weaponry. I mean, I would be pretty stupid. But I guess maybe like if they're doing like, I don't know, research, like actual alien research, and not necessarily like having an actual civilized like alien there. Maybe, yeah, I think it's also definitely a good possibility. But weaponry for sure, it has to do something with the military. It has to do something with testing weapons. I'm sure it does. What about you though? What do you think is at Area 51?
I feel like in Area 51 is where they have Minecraft too. And they're holding up, and they're holding on to that, and just in case the world's about to end, they can at least share that to everybody.
No, they
Or that
have.
also could be where Skate 4 is in development.
They they actually have Modern Warfare 2 remastered there, the multiplayer remastered. That's where it's
that
located.
Would make sense.
I want to actually go into this one because I've heard of this, but I don't really know much about it. I don't know about you. Do you know about the black or unmarked helicopters?
No.
Yeah, so I've kind of heard about this a little bit, but I'll read what it says. The concept became popular in the American militia movement and in associated political circles in the 1990s as an alleged symbol and warning sign of a military takeover of part or all of the United States. Rumors would circulate that, for instance, the United Nations patrolled the U.S. with black helicopters, or that federal agents used black helicopters to enforce wildlife laws. In Britain, a similar conspiracy theory known as phantom helicopters has been reported since the mid 1970s. This concept relates phantom helicopters to UFOs and alien invasion rather than to martial law. So
Interesting.
that is kind of an interesting one. So, like, yeah, because I think, like, what's his name? Alex Jones, I think that's his name. The guy who does like conspiracy theories on TV. He does
Yeah.
Infowars, right? Um,
Yeah, he did do
he,
Infowars. For sure got banned on all streaming
oh, did
platforms.
he? I think I think at one point he used to talk about black helicopters all the time.
Mhm.
But I only know this because I watched the Joe Rogan podcast, like since like
Mhm.
their first few episodes they would talk about it or something. But yeah, that is kind of an interesting one. Let's see some other ones here. I will
Have you
admit,
heard about all this stuff with Joe Rogan and Spotify?
I did actually. They had some sort of news segment that I was watching yesterday on TV, and so basically, he's like he's basically getting accused of like the COVID misinformation or something like that.
Yeah.
And of course, Spotify's like upset with them, like putting warnings on this stuff. And I know he made like some sort of apology.
Yeah, he's not trying. Like he said, he's trying not to spread misinformation. But he's
Mhm.
been getting backlash for a while, ever since he got on the YouTube deal. 'Cause, I mean, like
I
Spotify
was gonna say
basically, he has,
YouTube.
yeah, he has. I mean, he's had what you could say controversial guests, or guests a lot of people don't like. Like he's like Ben Shapiro's a recurring guest on that show, and a
Mhm.
lot of people aren't happy about that because it's on Spotify, and I think there's a thing now with the current situation that Neil Young pulled all his stuff from Spotify, and
Yeah, that's right.
there's people canceling their Spotify accounts, and like what Joe Rogan said, he's not trying to spread misinformation, and I mean I get
They're
why
just
people
having
are upset, but
conversation.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's exactly what he said in the video too. He's just there to have interesting conversation, and
mhm.
like I get why people would be upset about some of the things that are said on the show. Like I get that, but like at the same time, I feel like, and I like listening. Like I have no problem listening to people that maybe I might not agree with on anything,
Mhm.
but it's interesting to hear their side.
Yeah, it
Like
totally is.
you can start to hear their logic. Like you can listen to what they say and disagree with everything they're saying, but it's at
Mhm.
least interesting why they think that way.
Oh yeah.
And and that's the thing. I feel like people listen to it and they hear stuff that they don't want to hear, and you can agree with it. Or disagree with it. That's fine. I hear things on there that I disagree with, but you can always just listen to another fucking podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
But but yeah, I don't get that. It's like people just throw such a fit about it, and not saying there isn't a reason to be upset, but people are just ridiculous.
Mhm.
It pisses me off.
Yeah.
I
I was just gonna say that Joe Rogan, even though I do listen to his podcast, I don't actually listen to like his most up to date stuff. I'm like last summer I started from the beginning, and then now I'm on like his 80th like episode or something like that, which he
Mhm.
made like 10 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And so right now it's just like basically him and his like closer friends that are like also comedians, and they like honestly they just say a bunch of hilarious shit, and it's just really entertaining for me. So I don't know if it's like
Yeah,
that now. I don't think it is. It's more. It seems like he's gotten a little bit more serious with their topics, but like, and that could
he
be a
definitely
reason
has a
why
variety. Like he still has,
that could very well
yeah.
be a reason why people are upset, because maybe they originally listened to him for like to like listen to something funny, but now he doesn't do that anymore. Maybe I don't know. I could be wrong. I haven't
No, he
listened.
still does. Yeah, because I mean, he's recently had like Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer on
I
separate
guess that's
episodes. Like
true. Yeah.
he still has a wide variety of people, but he also has like politicians and other people that are like really into politics, like people like Ben Shapiro. Like he'll have them on the show, and of course, political stuff will get brought up because how could you
Hmm.
not bring that stuff up? And just that, like politics and everything with COVID,
I mean,
all
yeah,
that
you got to
stuff.
remember
It's
they're
all going to
having
get
like
brought up.
over
It's
like
inevitable. It's
yeah, they're having like over
3 hour
200.
conversations.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 or 3 hour like conversations. So
Yeah,
like they
and it's
have.
the most popular podcast.
Hmm.
There's a reason why he got paid $100 million to be a Spotify exclusive. They gave him all that money for a reason, and Spotify, for the time being, is standing behind Joe Rogan, which I agree with. Even if they're saying things you don't necessarily want to hear,
And
That doesn't mean the conversation shouldn't be had.
yeah, and if anyone from Spotify is listening to this right now, if you are very unhappy with Joe Rogan and his podcast, you can just give the deal to us. We will gladly take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Tristan and I are going to split it 70-30. I only get the 30%. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
how I look at it, like when it comes to signing anybody to exclusive deals, especially when they're controversial, there's going to be up and downs, just like the Dirt Hills at today's sponsor, the Old School Park. Use promo code landing LANDING, and get 20% off your first bike ride at the Old School Park.
Awesome. Yeah, you can't miss out on that opportunity, ladies and gents. But yes, let's go ahead and jump back into the conspiracy theory type talk here. So, some of these I've never even heard of before. Like, these sound so outlandish. I don't know. Like, for the example, this one. I don't know what this is. It says the peak oil conspiracy. Have you ever heard this?
Mm-mm.
So it says peak oil, a theory in itself, is the supposed peak of oil production during and after which demand for oil outstrips supply, sending prices through the roof. The peak oil conspiracy theorists believe that peak oil is a fraud. Oh my gosh, how do you say that? Concoded? Is that the word? By the oil industries to increase prices amid concerns about future supplies. The oil industry is aware of vast reserves of untapped oil, but does not utilize them in order to maintain the illusion of scarcity they claim. Huh. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of definite. I can definitely see why people would think this. Oil is huge. I mean, my goodness, oil is what like drives this world around, basically. I could definitely see why people would dive into it, to about oil itself. I mean, you could also say that about gas prices in the United States being really high right now. But
I've heard theories of people finding or making all they make cars that don't run on gas. This is all stuff I heard a long time ago. Obviously, they have electric cars now, but I remember as a kid being told there's doctors out there that have found cures for cancer, and they get death threats from hospitals because they make so much money off cancer patients. If you release this cure, I've heard that. I've heard things like cars that don't run on gas, and they get death threats from oil companies and stuff like that because they make so much money off gas. I always heard that shit growing up.
that's so funny. I mean, yeah, for a business perspective, I guess it could hurt you, but it's not like you're gonna go out of business, I guess.
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting one. Oh, what's this one? This one's called the Philadelphia experiment. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to get up and get more water. My mouth is dry as F right
The
now.
Eagles didn't actually win Super Bowl 53. It's all fake.
Oh, that totally reminds me. So, do you know who Tim the Tap Man is?
No.
So he's a popular streamer on YouTube, and he does a bunch of Call of Duty and Warzone, mostly Warzone, but sometimes he plays other games. Anyway, so throughout the entire NFL playoff season this year, he has predicted who was going to win games, and all of them are wrong. He's gotten every single one wrong up to this point. The NFC Championship, AFC Championship, he got those wrong, and so basically people are using him as a way to know the future. So whatever he says, what really is going to happen is the opposite. So he predicted that the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. And so now we know the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl. We don't even have to watch the game. We already know the outcome. But because of Tim the Tap Man, he's always wrong on everything he says. And I just think it's hilarious just seeing how entertaining it is over on Twitter. But anyway, going back to the Philadelphia experiment here. So it says, what does it say? Popularized by the Charles Berlitz novel of the same name. Interesting. Conspiracy theorists believe that during an experiment at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in October 1943, the U.S. Navy destroyer, Eldridge, was rendered invisible. According to some accounts, the scientists on the experiment found a way to bend light around an object, but that the experiment went wrong and Eldridge was transported through space and time, reappearing at sea. Several sailors wait, what does it say? Several sailors, it is said, were badly hurt when the experiment went wrong, and some were melded into the ship's superstructure. The U.S. Navy has denied that the experiment ever took place. That's kind of a far-fetched one.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even get why this is considered a theory when it comes to invisibility. I mean, my dad's been invisible since I was 12.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like having a ship being able to reflect itself so it's invisible. I mean, it's not like the idea isn't completely far-fetched, but this is during 1943. So I don't think they would have done something like that back then. But the Philadelphia experiment, that is definitely one I have never heard of.
Yeah, that's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah.
Have you seen that episode of SpongeBob where they get the invisible spray from the gag store and they use it and pretend to be ghosts?
Yeah. I
I wonder if
remember.
that was inspired by that theory.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah. I wonder if it was.
Or maybe that episode inspired that guy in the 40s to become invisible.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So what's this one? They call it fluoridation. So it says fluoride is commonly added to drinking water as a way to reduce tooth decay. However, there has been some evidence that there could be some harmful side effects from fluoride, and conspiracy theorists believe that this information is known and recognized by those responsible for adding the fluoride, but that they continue the practice regardless. Drug companies have been targeted as possible beneficiaries as they will profit from a population with ill health. Another motive is that fluoride lowers mental abilities, thereby dumbing down the entire population. That's kind of a weird one.
Fluoride makes you dumb.
The fluoride makes you dumb. Yeah. I think I've heard of that a long time ago. It's been a long time since I've heard this conspiracy theory. But it's fluoride. I find that interesting. So they purposely make fluoride. They purposely make you dumber by putting something in your fluoride. I don't know. Do you think that's true, Tristan? Do you think fluoride makes people dumber?
I drink so much water nowadays. I don't have the brain capacity to form an opinion on that.
Oh yeah, yeah. What were we talking about again? Let's just look at something else. Speaking of water,
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. I think it has to do with parenting. But,
Yeah, the parents drank all the fluoride water.
Yeah. No, yeah, it actually does the opposite. It makes the parents smarter.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Do you remember the score streak in, I think it was Black Ops Cold War? Do you remember the HARP?
No.
Shit. Do you remember the advanced UAV or the orbital VSAT?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the orbital VSAT. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
Okay.
The HARP score streak in Black Ops Cold War is multiplayer. So that's what this conspiracy is called. It's called HARP, and it might be the same thing because it's spelled exactly the same. It's HAARP. And it says, more than 200 miles east of Anchorage, Alaska, is the Pentagon's high-frequency active auroral research program, officially an enormous experiment to heat the ionosphere with radio waves. But conspiracy theorists believe the project is a weapon to bring down aircraft and missiles by lifting sections of the atmosphere, I think I said that wrong. So yeah, but conspiracy theorists believe the project is a weapon to bring down aircraft and missiles by lifting sections of the atmosphere, causing earthquakes or even a huge weather modification machine. I actually had to go back and reread that sentence because they misspelled some words. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. They bring down aircraft and missiles. By lifting sections of the atmosphere, causing earthquake, huge weather modification. So they're saying that the HARP is, yeah, it modifies weather essentially. That's kind of interesting. I can definitely see that conspiracy modifying the weather. Yeah. I don't know how. I don't know. I feel like you can't do that. like, is that even possible? Like, I know Cloudy
No,
with like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, you know, he was able to make a machine and make food from this guy, so I know that's
and that
real.
and that movie is based on true story.
Exactly, it's based on a true story.
And
And
the real question here, though, is who obtained the kill streak? Who got the kill streak in order to get the orbital VSAT or
yeah,
the HARP,
yeah,
whatever it's called?
because you know, in Black Ops Cold War, you know, it's not necessarily about going on a kill streak. Like your score doesn't reset upon death. So did this guy die multiple times?
Yeah, seriously.
No, but
Beats me.
that is kind of an interesting one. Having the idea of a weather generator or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. This is a popular one. Global warming is a hoax. Actually, I'm curious. What do you know about this right now?
Nothing. I mean, like I always hear about like the ice caps and Antarctica melting and stuff like that, and it's something that's actually going on. And from everything I've seen, just growing up, like I don't know how you can look out there and not think global warming is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't do a whole lot of research on this stuff, to be honest with you, especially when it comes to global warming. It seems like I don't know how you couldn't at least see it based on all the evidence that's been bestowed upon us.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to just anything, like when it comes to treating the earth better, like there's people out there that like dump all their crap in the ocean. There's people that just like it pisses me off when people just litter, because it only takes you a split second to throw something in the trash or separate your trash and your recycle. Are we lazy about it sometimes? Yeah, here and there. I'm not perfect, but I don't get why you wouldn't want to take better care of the earth. Like
Yeah.
as like granola compy as that sounds, it's true.
Yeah,
They've
and the
got a
only
point where they're
person
talking about
who's
it.
going to save this world from global warming and, of course, the over amounts of trash that is on this planet is Mr. Beast. He is the only one that is going to be able to save this planet because I think didn't he do something? Oh, I want to say a year ago where he planted like over 3 million trees or
Planted a lot of
something.
trees.
Like it was a lot of trees. I can't remember what it was honestly. But I mean, yeah.
That guy's done so much, man. People still find ways to like discriminate him and be rude to him and like try to cause controversy with his videos. Like, oh, you're spending
Mhm.
all this money on stuff. You could be donating it to charity. Like, you don't think he fucking does that? Like, look at all the stuff he's done. Like,
Mhm.
there's a reason why so many big YouTubers were out supporting him through all that stuff.
Yeah. And also like the reason why he put so much money into like his own videos is because he knows it's going to get him more money. And if he
Yeah.
makes a video that doesn't like there's not as much effort being put into it compared to his other videos, then people are not going to keep watching him. So he also has to maintain his reputation out there on the internet, and of course also do what he keeps doing by of course trying to like donate as much as he can, even if most of his expenses are for his next video.
And he always comes off as so humble too.
Mm-hmm. I've heard I think maybe one podcast with him. Then there was like in that same podcast they had one of his editors or something on it. But yeah, Mr. B. I mean, yeah, he definitely seems like a humble guy. I came across one of his videos he uploaded like 5 years ago where he was listening to like the same song for 10 hours straight or something. It was a 10-hour long video.
Yeah.
But or no, I don't. Was it 10 hours or 24 hours? I don't remember.
Either way.
Either way, yeah, long ass time. But yeah, I've definitely seen him do his parts, trying to like with community service and stuff like that. But anyway, like going back to kind of global warming and stuff like that, and how like global warming is like a hoax, and that it's the earth actually I'll just read what it says here, because what does it say? It says some climate change doubters believe that man-made global warming is a conspiracy designed to soften up the world's population to higher taxation, controls on lifestyle, and more authoritarian government. These skeptics cite a fall in global temperatures since last year and a leveling off in the rise in temperatures since 1998 as evidence.
Definitely not like we've been polluting the air for the past decades and decades and decades.
Yeah, I'm sure burning gas and oil, I'm sure that definitely does something to the atmosphere. I'm sure like if you know the different like layers in the atmosphere, or like there's a troposphere, because atmosphere is the layer itself, right? Like so there's like
I think.
atmosphere, troposphere, ionosphere, oh, I don't remember all the names honestly, but I think to a certain
Stratus.
point, like all that gas and shit we've been burning up, I think it can't leave that certain layer, and so
Mhm.
I think yeah, it's being trapped here, causing. I think it's a very good possibility that it is causing the Earth to warm up because Antarctica and just the Arctic in general. It is definitely warming up. There's no like doubting. There's no like nobody's denying that the Arctic is not melting because it is, and so yeah, I think the Earth probably is getting warmer due to man-made burning gas and oil. But I mean, I'm no scientist, so I couldn't really tell you if that's true.
Maybe we're getting too close to the sun. Maybe the aliens moved us.
Yeah, we moved an inch closer to the sun, and so
Yeah.
now we're just gonna get burned alive. Have you
Yeah.
heard of chemtrails?
A little bit, not really.
Oh, chemtrails is the theory that like that vapor that's caused by the planes when they fly by and they kind of stay in the air for a while. Those are called chemtrails, or that's what people call them. And they say the government does it on purpose to like pollute the air and stuff like that, or something. Like what does it say exactly? Hmm, high altitude is some yeah, because it says theorists believe that some chemtrails, which consist of ice crystals or water vapor condensed behind aircraft, actually result from chemicals or biological agents being deliberately sprayed at high altitude for some undisclosed purpose. So they don't know the purpose why they're doing it. They're just saying that those trails that the planes leave behind are actually chemicals to somehow pollute the air or to like poison humans or stuff like that. But you got to remember, those people flying those planes, they also live on the ground too, so I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't really make any sense to me. But yeah, we've kind of gone over a lot of different ones here. um Sheesh, I don't know, there's nothing really else for conspiracy theories, but I know, Tristan, you kind of want to talk a little bit about favorite TV shows.
Yeah, before we do get into that, I have one more conspiracy theory, that is interesting, at least to me, is that the whole thing. Have you heard anything about the Denver National? It's the Denver International Airport. That's what it's called.
Where is it? Is it like in Denver, like
Oh, I
in
thought you were gonna ask where it's located. Yes, it's in Denver. Yeah, it's in Denver. But yeah, it's just this huge airport, and there's theories about there's like underground bunkers underneath there because I mean I believe there's like a lower level to the whole airport, and no one knows what's under there.
Mm.
And then also there's this like blue horse it's like a sculpture in front of the airport, and some of the call it Lucifer, and it's weird because the man who sculpted it was killed by an accident whenever the head of the horse on the statue fell, killed him.
Wait,
Severed an artery in
really?
his leg. Yeah, yeah. One of the people, yeah, the guy who sculpted the horse
Huh.
died sculpting it.
So the sculpture fell on him and killed him.
Hmm.
What the hell? That's weird. Um,
Yeah, but yeah, there's stuff about like underground bunkers and stuff like that. A bunch of stuff with that
oh,
airport.
there's like what's it called? Like underground tunnels that like connect throughout the entire United States or something like that. I mean, they did that
Yeah.
in the movie Us. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, that
I
was
do remember that.
that was a good movie. I thought that was really interesting. I think that was my first time actually being exposed to the theory of tunnels, like a bunch of these tunnels connecting across the entire United States, so you can get from point A to point B no problem or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's something I've heard of. But yeah, seeing in the movie Us, I thought was really interesting as well. But actually, we could. Oh shoot! I just hit my mic there. I don't know if it made any noise there, but what so we are actually just about to hit an hour right now, as soon as I say that, but even though it's probably gonna be like, yeah, anyway, so we could save our conversation about movies and TV shows on the next
Yeah,
podcast,
that's
because
that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, before we got into that, I was like, I feel like we should just save that for another episode because I can go on about that.
yeah, like there's a lot of good TV shows, especially as a kid, that I watched that are just so, oh, they're just so good. And I know, like, I think it really shows our age, like, when like we look at TV shows now and it's like, oh, these aren't nearly as good as the shows I watched as a kid or something like that. I mean, I think
Yeah.
everybody says that. Every generation says that. Even our parents, they'll
Yeah.
be like, oh, well, we had it a lot harder than you.
Back in my day, yeah, they're that way with music too.
Just like my dad would always say, he had to walk uphill back and forth when he went to school. So uphill both
Yeah.
ways. But anyway, that is pretty much going to be the end of this week's episode for the Landing Podcast. Thank you all for listening. If you are subscribed to my channel, make sure to listen to this podcast over on Spotify if you would like to. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, make sure you are subscribed to my channel, the Spartacus 200. Of course, don't forget to follow me on Twitter as well, just the Spartacus 200 once again. And I do make TikToks as well, but the videos I upload on TikTok are also on my YouTube channel. So, you got any last remarks, Tristan?
Nope. Thank you everybody for listening.
Yeah, seriously, we really do appreciate it. And we will see you next week.
See you guys.